All right, it is Template Tuesday. Sorry, Training Tuesday. It used to be called Template Tuesday. Now it's Training Tuesday, and it's March 5th. And today's a big day because, well, you don't know it yet, but you will probably when you watch this video because most of you watch it as a recording. But today we're launching our new brand. We're launching our free trial, which is something we've never done before in our 15-year history, and we've it's actually been quite an enormous project. You can't imagine all the things that we had to take into account to get that project done. It's been years in the making, and a new interface. Not a whole new interface, but a nice little touch up, kind of a new color scheme to match our new brand, and a little cleanup job. So pretty exciting day. It's not launched just yet, but if you join me today, you'll get to see the new interface. I want to talk about a Zapier. I always say Zapier. Some people say Zapier. I don't know. I think it might be Zapier. I don't really know. But man, it's a good tool, that Zapier. It's kind of like an API integrator for non-engineers, people like me who don't really write code. And it allows you to connect Ontraport and the data that's in Ontraport with, I want to say thousands, hundreds anyway, thousands maybe of other third-party apps. And you can do all sorts of interesting, worthwhile tricks with Ontraport and Zapier. And the integration process is really simple. I just want to make sure that you can get your head around this and understand what's possible here, because it's worth understanding. So I'm just going to dive right into it and kind of show you, maybe just a really simple example to start with. Something like just adding a trigger and putting maybe new form fill outs on a Google spreadsheet or something like that. Look at this. Ooh, it's a new little loading symbol. Pretty exciting. And a new look. Let's see. We're going to talk about Zapier. So how Zapier works is you kind of like set up, you click make a Zap. So you sign up for a Zapier account and then you make a Zap. And you can search, well, I guess it's hundreds of apps, it says here. And so you just type in Ontraport. And so kind of the way it works is a lot like our rules in Ontraport. It's like, if this happens, then do this, right? And in this case, it's kind of like our campaign builder. If this happens, then do this. And you can also do that. And the other thing too, you can do 2 or 3 things. And in fact, if you kind of upgrade your Zapier account, you can even get like paths, with some like, if this is true, then go down that path. Otherwise, it's a little more complicated in Zapier than it is in Ontraport to deal with that stuff because our interface is better. Basically, it's it's all kind of visually well organized into paths, and so you can understand it real easy. It's a little more complicated in Zapier to do that pathing stuff, but let's just keep it simple right now. And let's just say, we want to do something in, when something happens in Ontraport, and we have these 4 triggers that are available for you. So new form submission, when a tag is added, when a new contact is added to Ontraport, or when a tag is removed. So when any of those things happen, you can kind of like kick off this Zap, they call it in Zapier. So let's see. I'm going to use a new form submission. Why not? Actually, you know what? Just for the fun of it, I'm going to use new tags added because it's going to make the testing a little easier. So I've got all these different Zapier accounts integrated here, but you can connect an account real easily. You just you come in here and you put your API key and your app ID in here, and you can find that by going to administration. Ooh, look at this pretty new administration page. Searching here for API, and you'll see your API instructions in Key Manager. You can click on that and create an API key, and it'll give you exactly what you need to integrate that Zapier account there. So I'm not going to do that now because I've already got a bunch of these integrated. So I can save and continue. And then it's going to ask you, which object type are we looking for tags on? And so, you have in my account, I've got pets, I've got tickets, I've got projects, I've got companies, deals, and contacts. We're just going to keep it simple and look for a contact tag. And then it's going to ask you what tag. So we'll use Zorb, of course. And so that's it. So it's going to, whenever this Zorb tag is added to a contact, that's going to kick off this zap. And so that last thing, it says pulling in samples. What it wants to do is to see the thing work, right? So what you want to do, well, it's going to usually wait until the thing that you just, the trigger happens. So what we'll do here is we'll go down to tags and we'll add the Zorb tag like that. And then we'll come back here and see it says pulling in samples. We're just going to wait a second because it takes a second. Not long though. And boom, there it is. And we'll look and see. And this is the contact, Virtuo Socials, or whatever that says. Virtue. This is all just so locale. I don't know what this even is. It's test data. So this is the contact that just got pulled in, that tag that I just added. So we'll use this as the kind of demo record. And boom, we've got the trigger happening already. So now it says add a step. And typically the way you do this is you click action search, and you can do, man, so many different things. You can post a notice to your Slack channel if you want to do that. Hey, you got a new lead, or somebody just bought, or whatever it might be. You can post something to your Google Calendar. You can put it on your Trello board. You can, I don't even know what you would do with Gmail. Maybe you can post something to your Twitter account. I don't know. You can certainly add it to a Google Sheet. You can, boy, it's just really kind of like endless. A lot of times people will use, calendaring apps. Sometimes, like HelloSign is something that I set up one time. They have a nice integration here. So if you need to get something, for example, a document signed by a new buyer, maybe when they purchase your product, you add this tag. This is get, signed document, and then you send out a HelloSign. Let's just even do that. I'll show you how this works. Send signature request from a template. So that's maybe this is what example is going to be. So we send a signature request, and I go to my HelloSign account here, and it says, okay, well, in HelloSign you kind of create document templates. Well, which template do I want to use? Well, this waiver right here. I set this up actually a while back because I was helping an organization here in town called the Bucket Brigade set up their volunteer program. They got people coming out to dig their neighbors out. Remember, we had these landslides a year ago here, and we had this neighborhood organization that got together to help dig our neighbors out, and it turned into quite an organization. A buddy of mine runs it. And they get a bunch of volunteers, and they need the volunteers to sign a waiver, and they kind of need to do it like out there in the field. And so because people show up and they got their work boots on, and they want to be able to do it on their phone. And so somebody's got their laptop. They sign somebody in. They add a tag, and this waiver gets sent out to the volunteer, via email. And they can sign it, and then the waiver comes back into the Ontraport account, and the kind of team leader knows that this thing has been signed. So that's pretty cool. So what does it say here? What is the subject of the email? Please sign volunteer waiver. Sign it. Okay, that's the email. And then after signing, where do you want them to go? It's optional. HelloSign has its own page. All this stuff is optional. Volunteer's name. This came from the account. So sorry, this came actually from the HelloSign template, right? There's a template in there that needs to get populated with this data. So you got to get their name in there, you got to get their email in there, and then that'll populate the template. It'll send the template out to them. And I'm not going to, well, let's see, send test this. It didn't work because why? Payment required because this is a usually means we're able to connect to that, but could be related. Yeah. So I just this is a test account, so it's not a paid account. So I'm just going to skip that right now. But man, there you go. You've got the whole thing just like that. So I just want to, I think I skipped over an important piece there, and that was the merging of this data. This is their little merge button. And when you click on that, you see all the fields that are in your Ontraport account, and you can just merge those right in. And so in this case, I put their first name. I could put, first name, then I could add a last name here too. So, and put a little space in there. So that'll be the volunteer's name, volunteer's email address, and then boom, that's going to be sent out. Now, I'm going to finish this, and then it says you want to turn it on. You can name it HelloSign OP demo, and I can turn this on. I'm not going to do that right now, but then watch this. I can make a second zap and do the opposite. So watch, I go HelloSign, and then the trigger in this case is when the signature request is signed. Okay, so when the thing gets actually signed, I'm going to pull in samples. There's no samples. I'm not going to get into webhooks subscription not found. So again, this is because I haven't paid for this HelloSign account here. But boom, when a signature request is signed, it's going to trigger this app. And then what I can do is I can go back to action, look for Ontraport. Let me get this out of here. And then it says create or update contact. And so what's going to happen here is you're going to be able to update the contact record in your Ontraport account. And just so you remember, the way that this works is that it's going to create a new account if, it's going to create a new contact record rather, unless it finds a match in the email, because email is the unique field in contacts. And so you want to make sure that you do put the user's email in here so that it doesn't create a new record, so that it does find that match and it merges the new information together, right? So I can actually just search. I can click this thing and I can search all the fields. Now these are the fields that HelloSign is sending over to Zapier. And so I can select these fields and signatures, signer, email address. And this should be just one person. I don't know why it's two. This is just their example here. This is an example of a document that needs multiple signatures, but our document just needs one, so that'll work just fine. And then what do? I can do a bunch of different things here. I can search for tag. I can add a tag saying, this thing is signed, or I can check a box or fill out a field, or I can, maybe I have a status that says, volunteer, a status that's a drop-down field, so I can use it in card view that says volunteer waiver request sent, and then when it comes back, it'll say waiver signed, and it'll move that card into the next column for me. That would be pretty cool. But in this case, I'm just going to say, whatever, interest one is the tag that gets added, and that you can add as much data here as you want, but you certainly don't need to. You just go down to the bottom and click continue, and boom, that is now going to just work, and the Ontraport will get updated when the HelloSign signature request is created. So pretty cool little addition to our Ontraport account. All of a sudden, you're doing real digital signature capture with just 2 zaps. Pretty simple. You do have to have a HelloSign account, of course, and I think you need to have an API-enabled account. So, it's not free, but there's also, a bunch of other, I don't know actually how much HelloSign costs, but, you can go in here and find other, like DocuSign. DocuSign does not have one, but what Sign Now? I don't know what's Sign Now. Sign Now. Yeah, this looks like another one. You could probably do the same exact thing here. $15 per month when paid annually. That's pretty good. You just need to make sure you have, Zapier access. That might be good. HelloSign's cheap until you get into the API stuff. It's not terrible, but I'm not sure. So, okay, that's a cool example. Just because I've got you here, I think that we've probably, got our heads now around how this works. Of course, you can add a tag in a campaign, when anything happens. So you can, whatever, if somebody purchased your product, you can add a tag and have that tag send it off to Zapier. Of course, you can do the same thing with, if somebody fills out a form, you can have that send the information to Zapier. If a new contact is created via any method, via API, or somebody types it in, then you can have that send it over to Zapier. So it's really pretty flexible. I do, just for fun, want to show you some examples of stuff I did. I'm not going to get deeply into this because it's pretty advanced, but I just want to show you a kind of an advanced example of something that I did recently. And that is, I took my Ontraport account, and this, again, advanced is available, functionality that's only available in pro accounts. But I created a new custom object called tickets. And what I did here, I've got this idea that I want to integrate our Zendesk tickets into our own Ontraport account. Because why would I want to do that? Well, our support team doesn't need that because our support team uses Zendesk to manage the support tickets. But our Ontraport account, which manages our relationships with our customers, is currently unaware of the support tickets that each particular customer might be submitting. And there are reasons why it might be worthwhile to have that information in our own Ontraport account. For example, if a new customer or any customer were to submit 10 tickets in the space of a week, we might want to do something different than just respond to those tickets. That to me sounds like an opportunity to get somebody on the phone and go, hey, what's going on here? There's something that you need a level of help that's beyond just sending in tickets. There's maybe a total misunderstanding, or maybe you're doing a big project and you're running into some roadblocks or whatever it is, but that's an opportunity for us to reach out to a customer who's probably struggling and see if we could, make the situation better for them. But right now, our Ontraport account doesn't know that any particular user has submit 10 tickets in over a certain time period or whatever, because we don't have that. Another reason it would be interesting is just for our own kind of internal research, to begin to be able to look at, what kind of customers are using support. Are those customers sticking around? Are they canceling? Stuff like that. We could also, in our Ontraport account, we roll up customers, users, into another custom object called accounts. So we have your account, and then we have all your users. And it might be interesting for us to be able to see not just when a user puts in a ticket, but when, across a bunch of users, one particular account is submitting a bunch of tickets. So, really useful opportunities for us at Ontraport to use our Ontraport account in interesting ways. if we only had this information from Zapier, or sorry, from Zendesk about each of our users. And currently we don't have that. So I started playing around with what it would take to get Zendesk ticket data into Ontraport. And it turns out that it wasn't actually very hard. It did take a little bit of custom code, a little bit of API code, but I was able to basically figure it out on my own. I think maybe I asked Pin one quick question, but I think I would have gotten there on my own. And even though I'm not an engineer, I can kind of show you what I did. The reason that I had to use code is because currently Zapier kind of only natively integrates with contacts. And because I wanted to create not a new contact, but a new ticket. This is a different object here, so a new ticket record instead of a new contact record. So I needed to use a feature in Zendesk, or sorry, in Zapier. So many different tools here. This is called a webhook. And so I'll show you kind of how this works. The trigger is pretty simple. It's just like a new trigger. You select an app, and the trigger is a new ticket. So whenever a new ticket is added to Zendesk, this thing will fire away, right? And then I used as the action, so that's the if, or when this happens, then do this. So the then do this part is this thing called webhooks. Webhooks by Zapier. And you can select this thing, and you can choose a bunch of different types of webhooks. In this case, I used a post. What I actually did here is, I can kind of show you what I did. I went to api.ontraport.com, and I went to, what I did is I went to objects, and I went to create an object, because that's what I'm going to do is, here, and then I went to the try it out live thing. And so, so check this out. This is integrated with my account already. Is that true? It's not. So what happens is if you put your app ID key, an API key in here, it will go to your account and look for all the various objects that you have in your account. So in my case, let's see, we've got tasks, messages. This is like what every account has, all these different objects here. But mine, because I created this thing called tickets, it has that a tickets object also. And so just for fun, I'll pretend it's contacts because they work the same. And I wanted to create a new contact. It would be a ticket, right? So if I put my app ID and API key in there, it would show a new object called tickets. So instead of creating contacts, it would say create tickets. And I basically just took this information, code, data. Well, let's see. Response buddy. It's not going to work right now because I don't have the thing in here. But it gave me this little code that I actually just plugged right in to my webhook Zapier post. So I went to this guy right here. This is the endpoint, api.ontraport.com/tickets. I found that right here. It's under the request URL. It said tickets instead of contacts. Then I used payload type form, and these are the various fields I wanted to fill out. And I saw that information when I put my app ID and API key in here. I'm just going to do it. Shoot, I got time. You got time. We're doing it, right? Let's just do it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to api.ontraport.com. I'm going to let you see this because this is just my test account, and there's no information in here that you guys care about. So that's my app ID. I'm going to copy this. And the API key. There's that space up front. You got to get that out of there. And then if I'm not mistaken. Okay, there we go. It is now going to just fetch all the endpoints that are available in my account. So we're just kind of like, wait a minute because it's there we go. Now I'm going to zip down here. It's still thinking. Okay, now look at this. So we got tickets. And now we're going to create a ticket. And I noticed that it said post here, which is why I selected a post type of webhook. See this? I selected post here because that is the type of call that we need to make to create a ticket. And then here are the field values that are that I created, the fields that I created in the ticket object. So it's ticket tags, ticket description, link to ticket. These are the my custom fields that I created in my account here. So link to ticket, stuff like that. I can show you what a ticket looks like. Account ID, contact ID. These are contact. This is the related field. So I've created a relationship between contacts and tickets, of course, right? And so what am I going to do now? I put the contact ID in here to make those things get related. Let's see. Let me just show you what I did here. I did a test. Is what I did. So contact ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Account ID is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ticket title. I did this. Ticket title. Link to ticket. This is just so I can see what it's going to look like. And description. And then I said try it out. And this is actually going to hit the API in my account and create a ticket. So let's see what happens. Boom. It worked. And you can actually now see that here's all the data, right? And you can actually see if we go back in here that there's now going to be a seventh one. This is the ticket I just created. Ticket title, description, link to ticket. That's what we just created when I tried that out. And here's the cool thing is that I got all this information. I got this kind of this setup that shows me what I need to put in my Zapier thing. So F2157 is the description. So when I edit the template, F2157 is the description. So what did I do? I clicked here. I typed in F2157 in the see, I can create another one. And I put the key value here and the information there. So what I do, I know this is description F2157, and then I went in here and I clicked on this thing and I grabbed description. This is the information that came from Zapier. And then let's see, F2156, what is that? Well, I went down here and I said, well, I don't even know what it is. F2156, it's going to be, one of these. Oh, here it is. F2156, link to ticket. Cool. So I come in here, F2156, and I go, link or probably like URL, just search for it. And I go down here and I find, what is it? Public URL. That's going to be the, well, that's not it. It's request your ticket description, ticket URL. There it is, ticket URL. And I just pop that right in to this field. And then I did, this is going to be the title, chat with Corey Clark, and then the ticket ID, I believe, F2154, or maybe that's F2154. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which I did as the account ID. So that's the account ID. So now I've got all that information in this guy right here. And man, that's really all I had to do. And I put my app ID and my API key in the headers section down here. And man, it just works. So now every time a ticket gets created, not only does it get in Zendesk, not only does it get created in my Ontraport account, but it automatically, because I put the contact ID in there, it automatically relates that to the contact in in my account here. So what I'm going to end up having, actually, I'll show you again. I can go down here, and this is, again, all just a bunch of nonsense data, but I'm going to see a list of tickets down here, and this is this person's tickets, and I can see date added, and the link to the ticket is here, and the contact, and I can even get the description, or I can open these suckers up and go over to the ticket and see the description here, and all of a sudden I have a pretty interesting new set of data. And of course I can also create campaigns around tickets. So when a new ticket is created, I could assign that ticket to a campaign. I could notify, for example, the account owner, one of our account reps. Hey, your person's had 10 tickets created in the last month. I need to let our account rep know to give them a call. I would do that with a ticket campaign. A lot of possibilities here. So again, a much more advanced example there, but I'm pretty excited to get this information into this is a thing I was messing around with the other day. So I haven't done it in our real account yet, but I think I'm going to do it and see what happens. So that is Zapier. Super cool platform to use your Ontraport data in other apps, to use data from other apps into your Ontraport account. Highly recommend getting your mind around how this works and thinking about it. It's not expensive when you get started. I'm going to see here. We use a lot of Zaps, so I'm not sure exactly what it costs. I think we spend a bunch, but we have a large account. We use a ton of it. But I think when you're at the beginning, it's not terribly expensive. Here we go. Free forever. Make 2-step Zaps. So I don't know how many you can do a month on the free forever, but for $20 a month, you can automate 1,000 things. So that's pretty solid. 3,000 things for $50 a month. That's a lot of automation there for a few bucks. So again, I recommend checking that out, getting your mind around it, testing some things out. If you've got ideas about how this could be used, post it in the thread here, and we'll talk about it. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you next week.